Arsenal's midfield has a new look, and it's all about Martin Zubimendi and Declan Rice. Zubimendi is the smooth operator. So calm on the ball, and he keeps things ticking with his smart passes and his incredible vision. Rice is the powerhouse. He covers every blade of grass. He's great at winning duels and drives the team forward. They're totally different players, but that's what makes them so good together. One brings the brains, the other brings in the muscle, and maybe even a couple of free kicks. Together, they might just be the best midfield duo in the Premier League, and this is their story. He could have gone anywhere, yet he chose Arsenal.
Good news for Arsenal supporters because they're closing in on signing Martin Zubimendi.
For over a year, Real Madrid kept tabs on him. Liverpool thought they had him.
Liverpool now and their midfield target Martin Zubimendi has decided to stay at Real Sociedad.
But in the end, Martin Zubimendi became a gunner. It's not the first time a Spanish central midfielder has found a home in North London. Cesc Fabregas lit up the Emirates. Mikel Arteta brought calm and class before eventually taking the reins as manager. And even Mikel Merino has had some unforgettable moments in the red and white.
What a fantastic finish from Mikel Merino!
Arsenal and Spanish midfielders just clicked. And Zubimendi isn't just any normal midfielder. In the Euro 2024 final, he replaced Rodri. Yes, Rodri, a Ballon d'Or contender, arguably the best midfielder in the Premier League. And yet somehow when he left the pitch and Zubimendi entered, the Spanish midfield got even better. Zubimendi outshone Bellingham. He shut down Declan Rice. That's the level we're talking about. To understand Zubimendi's strengths and what he brings to Arsenal, we have to look back at his journey. Because before he was bossing midfields on the international stage, before the links to Liverpool, the praise from Xabi Alonso, or the 60 million euros transfer to Arsenal, Zubimendi was just a quiet kid from San Sebastian with a football at his feet and a dream in his heart. That is where it all began. From an early age, he kicked the ball around the local youth club Antioquia, the same small club that produced fellow San Sebastian midfielders like Xabi Alonso years before. Zubimendi was a quiet, determined boy who dreamed of wearing the blue and white of his hometown team, Real Sociedad. He joined Real Sociedad's academy at just 12 years old. Growing up, Zubimendi looked up to Alonso as a role model. He would watch recordings of Alonso's games and try to copy his calm passes and clever positioning. At the academy, the coaches quickly saw something special. Zubimendi always seemed to be in the right place. He wasn't the fastest and he didn't stand out physically, but he was smart, like really smart. He understood the game better than most kids his age. He learned to play as a holding midfielder, the guy who keeps everything ticking, always ready to receive the ball, always thinking one step ahead. By 17, Zubimendi was already playing for Real Sociedad's C and B teams. He moved up step by step, learning from each level, growing with every match. Then something incredible happened. His childhood hero, Xabi Alonso, came back to the club. Alonso became the coach of the B team, just as Zubimendi was starting to break through. Suddenly, the player that he had studied for years was now standing in front of him, giving him advice, guiding him on the pitch. A pretty surreal experience. It's like me meeting my idol, Johnny Sins. Alonso became more than just a coach for Zubimendi. He became a mentor. Under his watch, Zubimendi took another big step forward, getting closer and closer to the Real Sociedad first team. By April of 2019, all the hours of hard work and quiet determination finally paid off. Zubimendi was 20 years old when he made his first team debut for La Real. He came on as a late substitute in a La Liga match, stepping onto the pitch, wearing the shirt he had dreamed of since he was a kid. It was a special moment. Imagine playing for the club you grew up loving, in the city where you were born. But it was just the beginning. Over the next year, Zubimendi kept growing. He didn't try to do too much. He stuck to the fundamentals, keeping the ball moving, staying calm under pressure, and always making the smart pass. Garnacho could learn a thing or two. As time went on, Zubimendi's confidence grew, and so did his playing time. Then came the 2020-2021 season, and everything changed. That year, Zubimendi became a key player in Real Sociedad's midfield. Now he wasn't just a part of the team, he was actually an important member. He was the one who dictated the tempo in the middle of the park, and as a result, the team went on a historic run. In April of 2021, Real Sociedad won the Copa del Rey, their first major trophy in over 30 years. It was a moment the club and its fans had waited decades for, and there was Zubimendi, the hometown kid, right in the middle of it all. Arteta saw this Real Sociedad team and I guess he just loved it. because he's been trying to recreate it in London. He has 3 players from it already: Odegaard, Marino, and Zubimendi. All he needs is Isak. Lifting that trophy wasn't just a win, it felt like a reward for every step of Zubimendi's journey, from the fields of Antioquia to the heart of the Real Sociedad midfield. By 2021 and 2022, Zubimendi was one of the best midfielders in La Liga. He was still young, but he played like someone with years of experience. Every pass, every moment, every decision, he made it all look so easy. Like I said, this isn't a guy who does flashy tricks or screams for attention, but if you watch closely, you see his genius. He was always in the right place, always keeping the game under control. Basically the opposite of Bruno Fernandes. The guy he's most similar to realistically is Sergio Busquets. You're not gonna see Zubimendi dominating the highlight reels, but everyone around him will know his value. And that's exactly what happened. People started to take notice, especially the coaches of the Spain national team. They began to see him as the next big thing, a possible successor to Sergio Busquets, a player who could control a match from deep and then lift the level of everyone around him. Then, out of nowhere, came his first opportunity with the Spain national team. In June of 2021, just before the Euros, Spain's main squad had a COVID outbreak and had to isolate. The coaches scrambled to find replacements and called up a group of under 21 players. Zubimendi was on a camping trip in France when he got the call. Without hesitation, he packed up and rushed back. Soon after, he made his senior debut in a friendly against Lithuania, and even though it was a last-minute high-pressure situation, Zubimendi stayed calm, like he always does. He didn't panic. He didn't try to be the hero or prove himself. He just played his game and showed that he did belong at the highest level. After that debut, Zubimendi became a regular in Spain's pool of rising stars. That same summer, he was chosen to represent Spain at the Tokyo Olympics. He helped the under-23 team all the way to the final and came home with a silver medal. It was another step forward in his journey, another big moment. Back at club level, he kept shining. In 2023, he helped Real Sociedad qualify for the Champions League, a massive achievement for the club. Slowly but surely, his reputation was growing across Europe. But throughout all the praise and attention, Zubimendi never changed. He stayed humble, he stayed focused. Holland's gonna love him. In an interview, someone asked him what makes a good defensive midfielder, and this was his answer. You have to have enough humility to devote yourself to the team, he said. The first thing is the collective. That's just who Zubimendi is. He's not the type of guy to chase the spotlight. He plays to make the team better. A moment that captures that perfectly was in March of 2022, when Zubimendi scored his first ever La Liga goal against Alaves.
His first goal in La Liga for the club.
It wasn't a flashy finish, but the joy on his face said it all. This was a player who gave everything, and in that moment, you could see how much it meant. Arsenal fans should love him. He's a quiet leader, a team player. He's always working, he's always improving. So you might be asking yourself, Ped, this is a nice journey, but why did so many clubs want this guy, and how does he actually help Arsenal? Well, Arsenal now have one of the best midfield pivots in the world with the partnership of Rice and Zubimendi. The reason that every team wanted this guy is because it's very difficult to find central midfielders who can set the rhythm for a team. If you watch him for a full 90 minutes, you'll notice he's always in the right place at the right time, keeping possession, finding gaps with simple passes. He is a defensive midfielder. He can play as a sole pivot, he can play with someone else, but although he's a defensive midfielder, he's not a destroyer in the traditional sense. He doesn't rely on crunching tackles or sheer physicality. He uses his brain. He dictates the tempo through his incredible passing, and he has excellent understanding of space. It's exactly why so many people always saw him as the eventual successor for Busquets. And to be honest, he doesn't need to be a destroyer at all, because winning duels and putting in crunching tackles are things that Declan Rice already does at an elite level. They will complement each other very well. With Jorginho gone and Partey showing that he's on his way down, the Gunners wanted to beef up their midfield. And who better than a guy who can easily play as the 6? Someone that will allow Rice to push even more forward if he wants to. In many ways, Zubimendi is Jorginho who can dribble. He has the same press-resistant quality that the Italian had. No matter how many players swarm him, he rarely panics. With a drop of the shoulder or a clever turn, he easily slips away from pressure. All he needs is a quick one-touch pass or a little feint to beat the press and open up space. His ability to receive the ball on the half-turn under intense pressure and still escape and find a teammate is a priceless asset. I mean, I can't tell you how many midfielders at the highest level still can't do this consistently. This means that Arsenal can play out from the back very confidently, knowing that Zubimendi will always offer himself as a safe outlet. Because as much as I love Rice, yes, I'm talking about the player, although I do like the dish as well, receiving passes consistently on the half turn isn't necessarily one of his specialties. He can do it, but he can't do it at the levels that we have seen from Zubimendi. And as a central midfielder, this is an important asset. You gotta be able to turn. It's why I hated watching Casemiro even in his prime. Brother's second touch was always a tackle. Zubimendi's passing range is another key weapon in his arsenal. You guys like what I did there? Because he's joining Arsenal? I'll show myself out. He's not a Hollywood passer who will hit a 60-yard cross-field ball at every opportunity. Like I said before, he's not that flashy type of player. In fact, by his own admission, he's still adding more long passes to his game, but his distribution is efficient and it has purpose. He knows how to break the lines and find the open space to actually progress the ball. He doesn't just make passes for passes' sake. After all, the guy is Spanish. Even frickin' Ceballos was good on the ball in the Premier League for Arsenal. Oftentimes you'll see Zubimendi drop deep between his center backs to collect the ball and then fire a quick pass through the midfield that takes out several opponents at the same time and finds his teammate in space. A lot of these movements won't be seen on a stat sheet because it's not going to directly lead to an assist, but these passes are what start dangerous moves, and when the moment is right, he can ping an accurate diagonal ball to switch the play. Defensively, Zubimendi is all about anticipation and positioning. He reads the game like a chess player. As I said earlier, this is not a player who relies heavily on physicality. Rather than diving into reckless challenges, he often notices danger before it even happens, and he will intercept passes by being exactly where the ball is headed before even the opponent realizes it. Now, of course, this doesn't mean he's a softie when it comes to duels. In La Liga, he still won a high percentage of his duels, despite the fact that he isn't super physical. I mean, if you saw this guy with normal clothes on the street, you would not think he's a professional footballer. In 2022, he was ranked in the top 5 players in La Liga for ground duels and aerial duels. He was doing the same thing in the Champions League. Of course, naturally, there is going to be a period of adjustment for him because players have said that the Premier League is very fast. It's a lot easier to be calm in La Liga than it is when you're playing Newcastle away and are getting pressed by Samba Man and Lasagna Man. But there's no chance this guy doesn't figure it out. He's too intelligent. And I mean, Jorginho is pretty much living proof that with footballing IQ, you can outplay anybody even if they are faster and stronger than you. Like, Jorginho was genuinely slow as a snail, and yet at one point he was a Ballon d'Or contender. What Zubimendi lacks physically will also be made up for by the fact that his partner is Rice. One thing that makes Zubimendi really stand out is that he's always aware of the structure of the team. So if a teammate charges forward or is caught out of position, Zubimendi will instinctively fill that gap, the same way that I want to fill Lily Phillips's gaps. The fact that he has this tactical discipline and knowledge is so impressive because it allows him to anchor the entire team and make sure that the shape is intact. You guys know that iconic quote from Del Bosque about Busquets, that if you watch the game, you might not notice Busquets, but if you watch Busquets, you see the whole game? Well, I know it's a cheesy quote, but Zubimendi's that kind of player. Sometimes when I watch Partey, I thought I was watching a gazelle learn how to walk, but I guess that's a convo for a different day. Arteta clearly has a plan for the Spanish midfielder. It almost feels like destiny in a way. Arteta himself was a San Sebastian-born midfielder who came through the ranks at Real Sociedad. So who knows? Maybe Lego Head sees a bit of his younger self in Zubimendi. Arteta's Arsenal has been evolving into a very dynamic, possession-oriented team, and I think he's been on the lookout for a player who could anchor the midfield for years. Arteta clearly wanted a press-resistant, technically sound midfielder, and in Zubimendi, he saw the perfect fit. And it seems like so did every other team because this guy's been in transfer news for years. Liverpool were favorites to sign him in the summer of 2024, and Zubimendi said no. I guess it's hard to leave the beautiful Basque region for the grey streets of Liverpool. Well, fast forward, and now the midfielder is more than happy to leave that place to come to Arsenal. The Gunners midfield trio looks good. You got Odegaard who can provide the creativity, Rice who can carry the ball, he can give you goals but also cover ground, and then now you have Zubimendi, the quad conductor. His awareness and unselfish play will be so key for this team, and his intelligence, it'll be a breath of fresh air. Now, I felt like Arsenal needed a left winger or a midfielder who was more like a number 8. But I guess Zubimendi does fix the midfield issue because with him now on the team, Rice has the freedom to get forward. And as we saw in the 2024 season, he's pretty good in that number 8 role. He will get you goals, he will get you assists. For Zubimendi individually, joining Arsenal is the start of a brand new chapter in his amazing story. He began as a quiet kid, just dreaming of being a hero for Real Sociedad, and now he's making the leap to one of the biggest clubs in England. It does seem like something out of a movie. I do think Arsenal fans are gonna love him. He brings so much more than just talent. He brings the values he grew up with: humility, teamwork, and a strong work ethic. He's never been one to show off. He just works hard, plays smart, and puts the team first. Expect to get a player who will fight for the badge, just like he did for his hometown clubs. And this guy's not just a player, he's a student of the game. Reports indicate that he spent hours watching matches, studying his position, and I feel this kind of dedication will help him adjust quickly to the pace and pressure of the Premier League. Another reason why he will be able to adjust quickly to the Premier League is because his partner in crime is also a terrific player, and that guy is Declan Rice.
Declan Rice is the best player in the Premier League.
In my eyes, one of the best midfielders in his position in world football. He's physically a freak. He can shoot.
And it is a wonderful goal.
He can head the ball.
Rice. Oh, it's brilliant.
He can tackle. He can run. He's technically gifted with both feet, so there ain't many weaknesses to his game at the minute.
Declan Rice is one of the best midfielders in the world. From captaining West Ham to a European title to solidifying the Arsenal midfield, the Englishman is as good as they come. He's versatile, able to play well both as a number 6 and in a number 8 role. He's a superb athlete, one of the very best when it comes to winning the ball back. On the ball, he's able to go on piercing forward runs and has the ability to get a goal when you need it the most. You can see why Arsenal paid so much money for him and why West Ham were so reluctant to lose their captain. But despite his performances for West Ham, Arsenal, and the England national team, people still haven't been convinced.
I think Declan Rice is very overrated. The way the English media wax lyrical about him, I think it's completely over the top. For a £100 million player, I want to see more than just 5 yards sideways and backwards passes. Like, he attempted one forward pass in the half and it went straight into the keeper's hands. For me, he's not world class. World class to me is someone who gets in every single side in the world, and I don't think he does that.
For Rice, criticism and doubt over his play aren't new.
I'm not disappointed because, look, I've played football long enough now. I know how they work. That's why I really do not get bothered about it at all.
At an early age, Rice was introduced to the cruelty of the footballing world when he was released from the Chelsea Academy at the age of 14.
Obviously, he was released at 14 by Chelsea, something that I didn't expect at all. You know, it was all I ever knew as a kid. You know, it was my whole life, you know, going there, training, the mates I'd met. And honestly, I felt like that was it.
He had been at the club for 7 years, becoming best friends with Mason Mount. However, he was let go while Mount was kept. People knew he had talent. It's why at 8 years old, he would be playing with his older brothers, who were teenagers.
Because I was always playing with my older brothers. It was a weird one. I'd be playing over here with 13, 14-year-olds at the age of 8. And everyone knew I had a little bit of talent.
But at 14, Rice lagged behind his peers physically. Although he showed signs of his footballing IQ and his determination, he was undersized and lacked the athleticism Chelsea saw in their best prospects. The news that he had been let go by his boyhood club was crushing.
How do you tell your friends that you've been released by Chelsea?
Letting you go at 14, how was that, having been there since the age of 8?
It was heartbreaking, honestly. I couldn't imagine. One of the worst things I've had to go through as a 14-year-old. I just broke down, I was gutted.
Like I said, Chelsea as a kid, it was all I ever knew, so I thought, where am I going to go? What am I going to do from here?
Stripping him away from an environment in which he was an immensely popular figure. It also halted his lifelong dream of being a Chelsea first-team player. Despite the painful rejection, Rice accepted Chelsea's decision and moved on. He bounced back quickly, joining the West Ham Academy.
And then on the Thursday, I was at West Ham. My dad drove me to Chapel Heath, and you know, obviously I was gutted, but I needed to kick on and push again.
Then that night I went and trained with Fulham, and then the night after I went and trained with West Ham. So like straight away I just moved on from it.
But for Rice, the beginning was difficult.
Obviously not getting to see my parents was really tough. At the start it was horrible. My mum even come up to West Ham to the digs and she wanted to drag me out because I'd call her up upset. You know, I was really struggling because I'm so close to my family.
The first 2 years when I had to move away from home, it was horrible. I was proper homesick, missed home proper. Thought about moving back home and having to travel in every day.
I don't think people realise what a big thing it was for him to leave his home in Kingston in Surrey and come and live in digs in Essex.
In fact, he almost got released from West Ham when he was 16 years old.
They were actually going to release me as well, and I don't think no one knows that. At 16, and I don't think I've ever spoke about this, it was a 50-50 decision. Half the coaches were saying keep him on, and half the coaches were saying we're not too sure.
West Ham liked his personality and character, but were worried about Rice's inability to affect games because of his lack of physicality. At the time, the club wasn't sure what Rice's best position was. Reece Oxford was the main talent at centre back, and the club didn't know yet if Rice was good enough to play in midfield. He was offered a scholarship while other players were given guaranteed professional contracts.
So I only ever got a scholarship to start with.
When he was given his scholarship, he was just given a straight basic scholarship, which means there's no professional contracts on the end of it, you're a scholar.
That's like a rejection as well, isn't it?
This was a reminder to Rice that he needed to work even harder to achieve his dreams.
The 5 boys that got their pro, and obviously me that only had a scholar, it was in my mind once I got that, I need to now work towards getting that pro contract. Yeah. So I had something that I was always pushing for. I was always driving myself on to get better.
In his group, there were 6 or 7 of them who were given a year's scholar and a year's pro. So he's sort of behind them, and I think that gave him a real determination to get in front of them and think, I'll show you.
West Ham United Academy coach Trevor Bumstead stated it was Rice's determination and persistence that helped him break through the ranks at West Ham, along with the help of a belated growth spurt. Rice won the Premier League Cup in 2016 with the under-21s. When Rice progressed to the under-23s, he was the recipient in 2016 of the Dylan Tombides Award, given annually to the Academy's outstanding player. The midfielder also won the Young Player of the Year award for 2017 and 2018, the first time that someone had won the award in 2 successive seasons. 2 years after joining West Ham at a youth level as a Chelsea reject, Rice signed his first professional contract with the club. After his impressive showing with the under-23s, he received his first call-up to the West Ham senior squad, making his senior debut against Burnley. He would have to wait till the 19th of August 2017 to make his first start in a 3-2 defeat at Southampton.
As soon as I got on the pitch and obviously had my first touches, and I played really well that day actually. I just felt like I'd belong there.
Rice would go on to feature in 34 games in all competitions for the Hammers, playing everywhere from centre defensive mid to centre back to full back.
I think I went on to play 32 games that season, mixture of starts and coming off the bench.
But no matter where he played, he performed well, as he was the runner-up for the Hammer of the Year behind Marko Arnautovic. From here, Rice only got better and better. On the 22nd of December 2018, he became the first player to make 50 appearances for West Ham while still a teenager since Michael Carrick. Just 6 days later, he signed a new contract with the Hammers until 2024. A month later, he scored his first goal for the club in a 1-0 win against Arsenal. His performance against the Gunners was so good that he won the award for individual performance of the season for that game. He was also named the Players' Player of the Year and the Young Hammer of the Year for the 3rd consecutive season. Despite these accolades though, some people still weren't convinced. Early in the 2020 season, Rice hadn't looked great in a goalless draw against Aston Villa. Days earlier, his mistake had caused one of Kosovo's 3 goals against England. Despite the 5-3 win, Roy Keane called Rice sloppy, while former Arsenal striker Charlie Nicholas warned the country about getting too hyped over a player who makes lots of mistakes and is clumsy. The staff at West Ham were not bothered by the outside noise. They could see Rice's leadership and confidence. After all, he was only 17 when he was appointed the captain of the under-23s. Despite being one of the youngest players, his leadership was noticeable both on and off the pitch. It's why he captained West Ham for the first time at the age of 20. Even though West Ham lost to Leicester, Rice with the captain's armband looked natural. In the 2020 season, he played in all 38 league games for West Ham, playing every single minute. He was in the Premier League's top 5 players for both tackles and interceptions, leading West Ham players in both categories and making more passes than any other West Ham player. He was named the Hammer of the Year for the first time. But while his progress as a player was going tremendously, Rice had made a decision that would change his world. On the 13th of February 2019, Rice had pledged his future to England, switching his international allegiance from the Republic of Ireland. Prior to making that decision, the midfielder was capped 3 times while also receiving a combined total of 23 caps for the Republic of Ireland from the under-16s to the under-21s. But now, Rice was going to represent the 3 Lions.
Well, Dec, massive congratulations. The latest West Ham United England international. How are you feeling right now?
Really happy.
The decision was not taken too kindly by people on social media, who sent him death threats and abuse. People were saying that they would come to his house and threatening his family. Rice was calm though. He had worked too hard in his career to let the abuse from people with fake profile pictures bring him down. He was named in the England squad for the 2020 Euros, and this would be the moment he was introduced to the world.
We like what we've seen in terms of his personality, his character, leadership qualities. Can play as a holding midfield player, and I've seen him play very well as a centre-back. So I think he'll fit very well into the way that we work.
West Ham fans and some Premier League fans knew how good Rice was, but now everyone could see his ability on the biggest stage.
I can't tell you how much pride I have every time I see him play for West Ham and for England. It's obviously I'm obviously biased towards him. For me, he's the best midfielder in the Premier League. That's not being biased, that's being truthful. Actually, he's the best midfielder in the Premier League, in England, for me.
Rice played in all 7 games for England at the Euros, where they finished runners-up to Italy. Anchoring that midfield, it was clear how important Rice was. In fact, you can make the argument that Southgate should have never subbed him out in that final.
You are playing outstanding. I was surprised when you got taken off. You was playing at such a high level.
Had he stayed on, maybe the outcome would have been different, considering he was England's best player on the pitch.
My low point of my career so far is without a doubt losing the Euros final. That's my lowest point that I've ever felt in football.
With some international experience under his belt now as well, Rice was getting even better. He continued playing every minute possible for West Ham because he was that important to the team. In May of 2022, Rice was named as the Hammer of the Year for the second time. He had really shown in the Europa League, where West Ham made it all the way to the semi-finals, with Rice being named in the Europa League Team of the Year. In the same month, Mark Noble retired, and there was only one man who was going to be named the next captain. If you thought Rice was good normally, as a captain, he was even better. He opened his goal scoring for the 2023 season with a banger against Southampton to salvage a point for the Hammers. Then he scored West Ham's third goal in a 4-1 win in the Conference League against Gent. He carried the ball for 55 yards before putting it past the keeper. The Telegraph called it the standout strike of Rice's career. It was a great way to explain it. The goal very much showed all the characteristics of Rice: technical ability, physical dominance. We were watching one of the best midfielders in the world.
Fabulous goal, individual. So, you dribble and you beat somebody and you do it again, you go on and you score. So it was he's some player, great ability, and that goal just summed him up tonight.
Rice continued to shine in the tournament, being named the Conference League Player of the Season as he captained West Ham to their first major European trophy since 1965, after beating Fiorentina. He was only one of 3 West Ham captains, along with Bobby Moore and Billy Bonds, to have captained the club to a major trophy. In the Premier League, he had the most interceptions of all players. But while the Hammers celebrated, there was a sour taste in everyone's mouth.
Now, Declan Rice has been one of the standout players for West Ham in recent years, but will he still be at the London Stadium next season?
You can see the emotion on his face, and the skipper, Declan Rice, you don't know if this is going to be his last game or not.
I know we're not here to talk about all the speculation, but it is out there. Is it annoying? Is it inspiring? Do you wish it would go away? Does it not bother you?
No, it is annoying.
We honestly hope that Dec stays. That's the biggest thing. We would love Declan to be a West Ham player, but we are aware that that might not be the case come the end of the season.
It had been the worst kept secret that Rice was looking to leave the club. He had gone from a player who was worried he would be released by West Ham to someone valued at over £100 million.
With the numbers that get spoken about, I get bad for it all the time on social media. Obviously I can't help that. Numbers that get attached to your name, obviously you can't control that at all.
West Ham chairman David Sullivan said the club did not want to sell the player. They wanted to build the squad around Rice, but the Englishman had made it clear that he wanted to move on.
If the Europa Conference League final victory against Fiorentina was Rice's last game for West Ham, he said, "I think it has to be. We promised him he could go. He set his heart on going."
Despite his valuation and interest from big clubs, some people still weren't sold on Rice.
I don't think he's been great this season. I really don't. I think he's not really kicked on. For all the talk about him, a lot of good PR coming out of West Ham, how much he's worth. I think he needs to do a lot more. Doesn't score obviously enough goals, doesn't get enough assists. If there's talk of him, he's going to be leaving for big money and going to one of the bigger clubs who could be competing for trophies, obviously, and playing in the Champions League. He needs to do a lot more.
Mikel Arteta and Arsenal, though, felt differently.
Declan Rice being introduced to the rest of the squad as an Arsenal player.
Declan had said privately that he felt like Edu and Mikel Arteta had put out all the stops and had shown to him that they really desperately wanted him to sign for Arsenal.
That's why I come to Arsenal, to win things, to play under Mikel, to play with these players. It was such an exciting project to join.
On the 15th of July 2023, Rice signed for Arsenal on a long-term contract. It was reported that the transfer fee was a club record initial £100 million, potentially rising by £5 million in add-ons. Rice looked good immediately, using his physicality to give Arsenal that extra edge as they defeated Manchester City in the 2023 Community Shield. He was the missing piece Arsenal needed, a six that could bring stability both on and off the ball. On the 3rd of September, he scored his first goal for the Gunners, a stoppage time strike to give Arsenal the lead against Manchester United. Towards the back end of the season, Arteta began using Rice in the number 8 role, where he shined even more. Further up the pitch, he could carry the ball more and be involved in the attacking third while still using his athleticism to win tackles. He finished the 2024 season with 7 goals and 10 assists, playing at another level in that number 8 role. There's a reason why Arsenal won 16 of 18 matches to end the Premier League season. Rice was announced as a nominee for the best FIFA men's player based on his performances for both London clubs and the national team. Another successful season, yet once again, criticism.
Can't lie, I think Rice is overrated though, I'll be so honest.
Do you?
Yeah, 100%. I think he's a very
Why
good
do you think he's overrated?
I think he's a very good player at what he does, but I don't think he'll ever become elite.
No, I don't think he's at the level that people have put him at.
I would have to say that he is a little bit overrated. I'm going to be honest.
Fortunately, to those who watch Rice week in, week out, we know that these criticisms are not true. Rice has been so good for Arsenal that nobody actually mentions his price tag. He was so good at West Ham that Pep was itching to put him in his Manchester City side. His influence for Arsenal could be seen both statistically and through the eye test. Winning goals, crunching tackles, deep runs with the ball, the guy has done it all at 2 separate clubs in the Premier League. Maybe another trophy will silence the people who remain doubters. He has a good chance of winning another one. The new Arsenal team under Arteta is looking good. To see just how good, you have to check out this video right here.